well, we did lose the line to Andre Gaum, Advocate Andre Gaum, who is with the Human Rights Commission. However, he's back with us. Advocate, thank you very much. Sorry about that. You were explaining that the position of the Human Rights Commission is that if it comes down to it, a vaccine mandate would in fact pass constitutional muster, and explaining basically that you believe that while we all have rights, there are limitations to those rights. But that sounds somewhat different to a conversation I had in the middle of September with your colleague, Chris Nissen. And I asked him about this. I wanted to know what the Human Rights Commission's position. And we're going to play a clip. Just listen particularly to the end of it, and then we'll get a response from you. Let's take a listen to Chris Nissen.
At the very beginning, when the COVID-19 hit our shores, we saw that, that whilst we encouraged people to keep social distance, to sanitize, wash your hands, and then later on wear your mask, we encourage people to do that. The inequality of this country has shown up that, that not all people have got access, cannot keep distance, that have access to water. And so we are saying that, yes, we must encourage people to be vaccinated. We must ensure that we create the environment for people to understand why it's important to be vaccinated. But we cannot force people. We cannot say to people, you have to do that.
All right, so Advocate Gaum, that was Chris Nissen speaking in September, and just that last part, he says we cannot force people, we cannot say to people, you have to do that. So I want to know from you, because you are saying that basically a vaccine mandate is enforceable, it would pass constitutional muster. Is this a change of position on the part of the Human Rights Commission? Andre Gaum, can you still hear us? Andre Gaum, I'm going to try one more time. Can you hear us? Sorry, I think we've had I'm asking key questions and I keep losing you. It's so frustrating. I can see you. Just try one more time. I'm not sure if I can hear you, though. Andre Gaum, can you hear me? Andre, are you perhaps muted now? One last try. I think you're muted. All right. Andre Gaum, we are battling to hear you, and I really did want to give you an opportunity to respond to what Chris Nissen said, but we don't seem to be able to get your audio. So it seems to be either you're muted or we're actually having connection problems.
I'm
you're back
now. Sorry for that.
Oh, you were muted. Okay.
I don't know what's going on with YouTube.
Should we just blame Facebook? We can't really. So I think you might have heard that clip from Chris Nissen where he said we cannot force people, we cannot say to people you have to do that. He was quite adamant about that. Have you changed position? Because you're basically saying, well, actually mandating vaccination is constitutional.
Yes, I mean, our position has always been that it should be voluntary in the first instance. But if we reach a situation where not enough people are willing to get vaccinated to reach community so-called herd vaccination, which is not a very good term to use, and that where we have a situation where there's a lot of pressure on the health system and so forth, and where the
I'm so sorry to push you. I'm so sorry to push you because we've run out of time. But I suppose what I want to know is, has the Human Rights Commission been debating and got to this point, or did Chris Nissen not explain the Human Rights Commission position properly?
No, it's been a situation of getting senior legal counsel opinion, debating the position and so on. And we are of the view now that in view of the constitutional provisions, the legitimate purpose of protecting the right to a safe and healthy environment, to protect the health system, to make sure that we make a considerable effort to reach herd immunity and so on, that all of those considerations are indeed a legitimate purpose to be able to limit some of the other rights, including the religious rights as well as the right to bodily integrity. So that is our considered view. But we also say it's a last resort, and it should be voluntary in the first instance, and people should get the necessary information from government in this regard. It should be a last resort, but it is possible indeed to justify that in terms of the Constitution.
All right, very interesting indeed, and thank you so much for that update. So the Human Rights Commission saying they now have a very clear position. Last resort only, and they would like people to do it voluntarily. But if it comes to it, actually our Constitution, they believe, it would pass muster to impose vaccine mandates on government employees or whoever. Well, there you have it.